Hey everybody, welcome to a Brilliant Businesses podcast. My name is Nick Bryant and I'm really pleased to be joined by Claudia Yorath, who is the Group People Director at Lock Associates, working on the HR side of the business. Hey Claudia, how you doing?
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me today.
It's a pleasure. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good. Now, we were lucky enough to have Lock Associates Group sponsor the Tunbridge Wells Business Show, which was last November 2024. And one of the sort of the hot topics around the show and around that time was people management and how businesses can succeed with a good people management strategy. But also at the time, there was a possible change to the Employment Rights Bill in 2024, which could have made it more difficult for a good people management strategy. Let's just start off, Claudia, about discussing that and what was spoken about at the show, and where should business owners begin with a good strategy like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So my colleague Amy spoke at the show and she was talking about the changes, and actually one of the things that we have spoken about a lot at Lock is how we kind of turn this on its head and think about what the headline objective is to set a business up for success, so that its team, the employees are empowered and engaged, and they have really clear, solid processes for dealing with onboarding and probation, which is really what will become very important with these changes.
Yeah.
So instead of sort of reacting to a situation that might have happened, where maybe there might be an issue with employee, we're very much at Lock about setting up businesses to succeed. So going back to that headline of how do we ensure that we have the right processes, the right team engagement, so we set the business and the team and the employees up for success.
Yeah, I think it's all about getting it right from the start, isn't it? And
Absolutely.
Making sure you've got all those procedures in place with handbooks and things like that, so everyone knows your same vision.
Yes,
yeah.
Completely. And I think the handbook is really important as a tool to ensure that people are clear about policies and procedures within the business. But actually, if you go back to the top, for us, we always think about what is the vision of the business and what is the strategy for delivering that vision. And then how does that strategy link into a people plan? Because when people working within the business, the employees understand and are engaged with the vision and the strategy, and they're on that journey, then that's really crucial in them being part of the success of the business. So they feel part of that. So it's a little bit more than having a handbook and policies and procedures.
Sure.
That's a tool that's really, really useful. But actually thinking more widely about the bigger picture of a business and what it wants to achieve and how it brings its employees on its journey is something that we're really focusing on at Lock at the moment, and really trying to support businesses to work with their team in that way.
Yeah. We were saying earlier, you mentioned earlier that no one wants to set a business up to fail, do they? They want to succeed, so it's important they get it all right at the beginning. And things like change of staff and that sort of thing all costs money, doesn't it? So it's really important. I'm just headlining what you said about getting it right from the beginning.
Completely.
Yeah.
So, as you said, business owners do not think I want to be a bad employer. Most people, I think, would want to be a fantastic employer.
Yeah.
But when you are a business owner or a leader in a business, sometimes it's difficult to always focus on the employees and the people because you have a busy job, or that might not be your skill set. So having support with how you set up to succeed can be really important and really helpful, because, as you said, recruitment, it costs time and money, and getting it right has always been important. But with the potential changes, actually, getting it right is going to be even more important, because you want to make sure that when you're recruiting people, onboarding them, they are going to be successful and contribute positively to your business, to the vision, to the strategy, and to their individual role, because everyone doing their individual role, obviously, it is how the business is successful.
Yeah. And is there a sort of a straightforward way that employers or senior management team can make sure that everyone around them within their team have got the same vision and the same values?
Yeah, so I think it's about cascading it and being really, really clear. And I always say to businesses that I work with, like a lot of business leaders, the vision will be in their head.
Yeah, sure.
So document it, but document it in a way that the team can engage with it. So having like a 10-page document, while that might be useful in some forums, when you're sharing that with the team, actually something a bit more clear and concise, that's easy to digest, that's easy to understand, it can be really, really helpful on that. So for example, what is your vision for 5 years, 3 years, very headline. What is your vision for 1 year? A little bit more detailed. How does that break down into your quarterly strategy? What are the important goals and priorities to achieve to deliver the vision? And then also really closely linked to that comes the people plan. But in terms of your question, how do you cascade that to your team? I think through a document, through being really open about it, through getting them to understand what the vision is, how we can achieve it as a business, and also the part that they play as a team or an individual in working towards that.
Yeah.
So communication and having something clear and concise, I think, can be really important.
Yeah. And when you're working with a business, you sit down with them and you can go through all those things, because a lot of those items that you've mentioned may get overlooked or forgotten about by a business owner, the importance of them. So within the business, you sit down and help them go through all those things.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we tend to actually split it into 4 key sections. So people, obviously, really important. Operations, client service, which can also incorporate like marketing and BD, and then also finances. Yeah. So by splitting it into those 4 sections, we can support them to work out, usually linking in other team members from their organisation, for example, the FD. We can support them to really get those priorities down, look at how they all link, and then also discuss how you keep people on track to achieving them. Because it's very easy as a business and an individual to sort of go, oh, what's going on over there? I'm going to go and do that today, or I've got this marketing event or client. Actually, sticking to the strategy can be difficult and can often need support, but that's where the people plan comes in.
Right.
So ensuring that vision and strategy is cascaded down to service lines or different teams or individual, so each person is clear about their role description. The 5 most important things that they need to do for their role to make sure that them and their team are successful, to think about their targets, their KPIs, their measurables, and whatever those business and personal objectives are, it's really important that if they understand them and they're working towards them, then that's how everything stays on track, and you kind of create that traction where you are all heading in the same direction and you are all following the strategy to ultimately achieve the vision and not getting too distracted with lots of other stuff going on. Yeah. So it is about being strict as well and challenging and holding people to account, but doing that in a way that fits with the values of the business, which is obviously really important, and doing that in a way where people feel empowered, not like they're not positively contributing. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, completely. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you go through absolutely everything with them, and that's a real comfort for businesses. That I think they need that. And then what about when things don't always go to plan? I mean, it's great having this plan in place, but sometimes things go off and it doesn't quite work out right. How do you deal with that? I mean, I guess there's all sorts of different scenarios that can come out of that.
Yeah, completely.
And with tribunals as well.
Yeah, very much. Things will go wrong, and however much you have set yourself up for success, unfortunately, things will go wrong. And we can absolutely support with that at Lock as well. And we have a really strong team in terms of our ER focus, dealing with difficult situations, grievances, disciplinaries, investigations. But again, supporting a business to ensure that that's done, one, following a policy and legislation and best practice, but also doing that in a way that is in line with the business's values and minimises business risk is really important as well. So there's lots of different ways of dealing with when things go wrong. It might be something that's just a one-off, or it might be something with an employee that's longer term. If it's a one-off, hopefully it's dealt with in the right way, and then the business and the person moves on. And if it's something longer term, then I would be saying to businesses that, again, sort of take it back to the top. Is this person right for your business? Are they right person, right seat, right role? Are they engaged with your vision? Do they understand what you're trying to achieve? Are they engaged with your values? Are they living and breathing those values and showing those behaviours every day? Do they understand the strategy? Do they have a clear role description? And if the answer to all those things is actually yes, but maybe they're not the right person, then that's a different conversation. If they are the right person, but maybe they're not quite in the right role or they need some support, then there's obviously ways of dealing with that as well, and having different processes and plans in place to support people. So there's absolutely occasions where, however much you are set up for success, things go wrong. But again, if you're set up for success, you can deal with those things in a better way, knowing that, as I said, you're doing it in the right way and in line with your values and in a way that's minimising business risk.
Yeah. I did a podcast with Amy before the show to talk about the possible changes with this employment rights bill. If anyone wants to see that, I'll put a link of that above. But it's quite handy because you've actually got I think you've got an ebook on your website that people can just download, which gives them information on a lot of this, which is really, really helpful. So how do you how do you support businesses when something does go wrong? I mean, you went through that a lot, but more like the difficult situations. Do you have any advice on dealing with those difficult situations?
Yeah, well, first is understanding the situation.
Yeah.
Understanding the situation, why it has arisen, what the issues are. Often with employees, it can be either a conduct issue, like a behaviour issue, or a capability issue, so performance. So really having a look at what the issue is, having a look why it's happened, and then working with both the employer and the employee to ensure that is done, as I said before, in a really fair way that is in line with the business values and best practice and legislation and etc. So it's really understanding the issue, putting a plan in place of how to deal with that, and then once that issue is sorted out, or there's a plan for how that's going to be sorted out, actually often we start working with businesses in supporting them more with their vision, values, people plan, because they come to us with an initial issue. I think I need to conduct an investigation, or actually someone's raised a grievance. So we will support them with that. But then when we start just asking some more questions about their business, because
unravels a bit, does it?
Absolutely, it unravels, and we're all very interested in people's businesses. We're not just a transactional service where we deliver an outcome to a grievance and then we move away. We want to work with our clients, to support them and be on their journey with them and be their trusted advisor. So actually asking those questions is how we can support them, because that conversation then opens a number of doors that we can help them with. But also, if someone does just want help with a specific situation, that's fine, and we're quite happy to help with that as well. But I guess our sweet spot client would absolutely be where we can add value, not just through an issue with an employee, but actually through helping them to ensure that they are set up for success and that their team feel engaged and empowered, and whether that's supporting with training, or with feedback, or with listening exercises, or with people planning, or setting a business up to support them to sell. There's lots of different ways that we can get involved, but often it does start with a business has an initial issue that they need some help with. And
then it grows into other stuff possibly. And if you're a small business starting up, is it wise to get things in place then as well?
Definitely.
Even though if you haven't got any staff yet?
I think if you haven't got any staff, then you won't need to be required to have some things, for example, contracts and handbooks and things. If you think that you are going to grow and have a team, then absolutely get that in place early on. And also we can sort of write that in line with what the business wants. So values are really, really important, and that will differ from business to business. So the way we write a handbook, the style, the policies, some businesses might actually not want to call them policies. They might want to call them philosophies. Because they're just guidance. And, there's lots of different ways we can work with businesses to understand what they want to achieve, their values and their business plan. Definitely. So I think setting yourself up for success for a startup is really important. And we can definitely support with that. Yes, there's a time and cost, I guess, attached to that. But,
get it right at the beginning. I think that's the overall theme, isn't it, of this conversation? Get it right at the beginning. To make sure that you've got all those processes in place. But also, if you don't have it right from the beginning, that's okay. Because we don't all get it right all the time, do we? None of us do. I definitely don't get things right, all the time. We're all always learning and growing and developing and learning from things that you reflect on and think, I could have done that better. So we work with a lot of businesses, a lot of entrepreneurs, business leaders who come to us and say, I have a really successful business, but I've kind of reached a bit of a stage, a ceiling where I don't know where to go next, because I feel like
things are a little bit disjointed. We've got a great business, but how do I get everyone to understand what we're trying to achieve and make a plan as we grow to ensure that we maintain the values and the strategy that we have? So if you don't have that in place, but you think I want to have that in place and I'd like to have a conversation about how we can support to help people with that, then absolutely. So it doesn't have to be from the beginning. It can be a very successful business that actually just has reached a stage where they want a little bit more support with either the direction of the business or with, as I said before, setting up for sale. Obviously, we are a law firm and we have employment law, corporate, commercial and immigration law. So we can cross-sell into those services. We have a fantastic team of solicitors and support team that deliver lots of client work in those areas. So we can absolutely support with business sales or whatever it is the stage that a business is at. So it's not necessarily always startups, but very happy to support startups or businesses that are more established.
Excellent. Claudia, you sound really, really thorough. And I know Lock Associates Group are really, really thorough, which is what businesses want. So if there's any businesses out there that really need help with people management and getting a people management plan in place so that they can succeed at whatever stage, like Claudia says, whether it's the beginning or the middle or however far you are down your business, please get in touch with Lock Associates Group. They, as you can tell, they know their stuff. So thanks, Claudia. It's been really, really interesting, a good insight for me, and I hope a lot of businesses will learn from that. And I'm sure we'll talk again, and we'll see you all for another podcast soon. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Absolute pleasure.